Okay, so here is an example of a program which we're going to write. Um, it's a simple menu-based program, and you can tell by looking at the text here how it might work. So you're presented with a menu, and you have three options. You can wash, dry, or exit. And you can see that the person picked wash, and then it said washing. They picked wash, and it said washing again. They chose drying and then washing and then exit. And it printed out a total. So it added up all those different costs, and that's all the program does. So that's the program we're going to write today, and we're going to use a particular method to arrive at this program called pseudocode. Okay, so pseudocode is just sort of a very gradual way of solving a program. So to write this program, there's a few things that it does. It prints out a menu, and it takes an option from the user, and for now we'll just stick with that. And we're going to call that sort of version 1, but in this case we're going to call it a refinement. We call it a refinement because we're going to gradually refine the version, adding more and more detail with each refinement. So for refinement 2, I'm just going to start by cutting and pasting everything I have here. Okay, and then I'll edit it or add to it. So I'm going to print out a menu. We're going to take an option from the user, and we have to keep track of what they chose. Okay, so keep track of the total. Okay, so there's version 2. Okay, version 3, we could add a little bit more detail. We can say exactly what the menu is that needs to be printed out. Okay, so we take an option from the user, but depending on what they choose, it's going to have a different effect. So if one is chosen, if 2 is chosen, add 250 to the total. Okay, so that's good for refinement 3. We'll leave it like that, and we'll go on to number 4. Now, one of the important things of this program is that it keeps repeating the menu and repeating the option to enter input. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to put it inside of a loop. I just selected everything and I pressed Tab. It's one of the nice features of Notepad++. And I'm just going to say loop. Okay, I'll leave it very simple. And at this point, I could put a condition, loop until 3 is pressed. So I'm being very vague here. I'm just sort of saying what it's supposed to do. I'm not saying really how it's going to do it. Okay, let's go to refinement 5. And so we can add a little bit more detail. We can talk about the variable where we store the option that the user makes. So we could say option equals the input if option equals 1. And we actually don't really need this third choice, because if 3 is chosen, we know that our loop is going to terminate. So actually we're coming to the realization that we don't actually need this anymore, and that's good. We're making progress. We might also notice that this could be an else if. And we can make this a little bit more exact. We could say while option doesn't equal 3. I'm not really using Java syntax. I'm not really using Python syntax. That's not really what's important. The point is, are we going to be able to translate it into Java? And so at this point, we're almost ready to translate it to Java. There's one last thing we could probably add. We could use a variable for the total. We could say total equals 0, and we could say total equals total plus 225. So at this point, I'm going to go over to BlueJ. I'm going to make my total variable. That should be a double. I need a while loop. I need a variable for my option. I'm going to initialize option to 0 so that the while loop can start. And I just realized I missed something in my pseudocode, and that's going to happen because you can't really run pseudocode, can you? I forgot to print out the total at the end. And this is normal in this process, completely normal. Your pseudocode should not be absolutely perfect. It's not meant to be perfect, it's rough work. Okay, let's run this, see if I've made any other mistakes. Oh, forgot to put the title. I also forgot to say washing and drying, so I'm going to go back in there and add that. I also forgot that in my pseudocode, and that's okay. Okay, running it again. And I'm pretty happy with that. So that's my solution.